Welcome to Card Players The Circuit, hosted by your favorite set, Scott Huff, Gavin Smith, and Joe Sebok.
That's right, everyone. You are listening to Card Players radio program, The Circuit. We are broadcasting on Sports Byline Radio on Sirius Channel 122 on cardplayer.com and on the iTunes Music Store as a podcast. Scott Huff, Gavin Smith, and Joe Sebok from the Fontana Bar at the Bellagio in Las Vegas, Nevada. It is the end of the day for the Bellagio Cup 2 $10,000 buy-in tournament, but the 1,000 is just underway. There's just so much poker. It is going to make my head explode, and there's a lot more poker on the show ahead right now. Great show for everyone today. We have Hand of the Day. We have phone calls. We have Poker Talk with Big G and the Baby Kangaroo, some emails, and Michael the Grinder Mizrachi, arguably the best tournament poker player in the world at this very moment. And how are you two gentlemen doing this evening?
I'm good.
What's up?
I just gave Joe Sebok a hug, too, for everybody. He did see that.
Right. There's a lot of love in this studio. You know, we missed you so much when you were gone, and tonight we just need to give out some hugs.
Maybe we should be honest and just let the people know that we're having a dysfunctional night.
We are having a bad day. We're having a Sebok.
We're having a Sebok right now. We're all having a bit of a Sebok. I wish we could license music so people could understand. Do you want to do a triet? What's it called? What's it called when three people sing together? Just a trio?
A tree, yeah.
Is it? I just said a triet.
Genius.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
I don't really.
Yeah.
I don't
sure?
want to.
You don't want to?
On the count of three, let's do it.
Are you sure? Wait, hold on. Wait. Is there a different song we could sing on that?
Two,
you want to? Okay, wait.
3. I had a Sebok.
So everyone knows what song it is there. What's the name of that song, anyways?
I had a bad day.
I had a bad day.
Oh, that was pretty tough, since it's like they say it 1,000 times in the chorus. But we are having a bit of a Sebok right now.
Yeah, we are.
But we're going to do our
best.
best.
Why does it have to be a
Sebok?
Sebok? Why can't it be a bit of... Well, Smith never has a bad day. Why can't it be a bit of a Huff?
I'm having a bit of a Huff right now,
because Sebok is 2 syllables and Huff's only
It's actually, what it is it's a Sebok
so
with a touch of the Huff.
Bad day is 2 syllables. Sebok is 2 syllables. It works better for the song.
Right.
It's also known as Radio Tilt. Anyways, we're not on it anymore. We are officially off, and I want to talk about the poker that you guys played today. We'll start with you, Joe. How'd the World Series event go down there, the $1,500 bracelet event at the Rio?
I don't really remember. I felt like a virgin on prom night. It was over so fast. So I think I played 20 minutes. I think I played 20 minutes. Every time I raised, the big blind called. I bet the flop. He check raised me. You know,
you never had a goddamn hand. Doesn't that suck?
I never picked. I literally never had a chance. I was out so fast. It was really ridiculous.
That's
so
ridiculous.
I'm a bit ground up. Tomorrow's the last tournament. I'm going to play that one, and I'm going to go home and crawl into my bed for about 2 weeks.
We're supposed to be renting out that sushi place in L.A., though. If you recall us saying that.
I will be down to do that. Let's wait like a week.
That's fine.
And also in a couple weeks' time, we're going to play that big charity event for Paul.
Yes, and I'll happily do that, of course.
And I will also want to do that. I'm going to try to scrounge together 100 and a couple rebuys to do that for one of the smaller ones.
You're the man.
That's the way I roll. So it was quick. Did the Bear play down there today?
The Bear played. He went out fairly quickly as well.
And he was out of this yesterday, is that right? He didn't make the day?
Correct. So he hasn't been doing well, but, you know.
The family, Joe.
The family's not doing well. There's a lot of people doing well, though. So JC Tran, when I left, was heads up for the bracelet from yesterday's event, which is great. I'm very happy about that. So I'm going to head back over there soon and see what's going on with that.
I saw Mimi Tran last night. She has cool sunglasses, so that's cool.
Mimi has cool sunglasses.
Speaking of, though, and I haven't mentioned anything in particular about my travels through the Bellagio here and my stay here at the Bellagio, but last night I saw Brad Pitt.
Yeah, apparently all of them. Apparently they're filming Ocean's 13, so all of them were here just playing around and goofing around.
They're really filming Ocean's 13?
That is what I heard. Just a rumor that who's the I don't want to sound. Is it Don Cheadle's or something like that?
Don Cheadle, yeah.
He was here as well with Brad Pitt, and a bunch of them, I guess, were here.
Wow, no kidding.
Because they're filming that, and they were having a good time. And I mean, everyone was like
snapping photos.
How cool would it be to be Brad Pitt? I walked up to this to this girl named Stacy, who's a pretty girl, and she's like, "Well, there's Brad Pitt. He can do whatever he wants. You know, I'll just do anything for that guy. He's just like he's like the man of all men." And I mean, like, God, I would love to be Brad Pitt for like 2 hours.
That's all you would want is 2 hours?
How many people would you have sex with in that 2 hour period? Be honest.
I'd probably just pick like the 10 hottest girls I ever wanted.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think I could do 10 girls.
So you'd be Brad Pitt on Viagra then.
Exactly. Oh yeah.
Or Cialis.
Oh yeah. I'd have blue pills going like 90.
I don't even know what that means, but it sounds really good.
Well, so I did see Brad Pitt. He was playing a bit of blackjack, and I kind of killed my joke. I was going to say I saw Brad Pitt last night, but it turns out $250 million is missing from the safe here. Ha ha ha. But they're actually recording the movie.
I
so
wonder if
kills
Ocean's 13 is going to be good like Ocean's 11 or total garbage like Ocean's 12.
I never saw Ocean's 12.
Don't.
But Ocean's 11 was great.
Ocean's 11 was fabulous, and which was why I was so fired up for Ocean's 12. But Ocean's 12 was
Remember
really
the
bad.
night I called you guys Siskel and Ebert? It kind of turned into that right now. Anyways, Gavin, tell us about the Bellagio Cup.
Oh, man, I am so sick today. I came in today. Well, first off, I counted my chips 3 times last night, and I was sure I had $81,625. And so then I came in today, and I'm counting my chips. And as I'm counting my chips, my friend Bobo's standing behind me, and I'm like, I'm sure I had 7 blue chips, and now I only have 6. And I'm like, well, there's a chip missing, right? And so I'm all upset, and I'm talking to the floor, and they're like, well, you guys put it in your bag yourselves, and so it's your own mistake if it's gone, because these have not been altered. But they don't verify stacks. And so I'm sure what happened was, as I was putting it in the bag, I must have dropped a blue chip. So I started the day 5,000 less than I ended last night.
Ooh.
But not a big deal. I start off good. I get it up to like 120. I'm going on great. Then I play a hand dark in the small blind. The big blind, sorry. I just check it dark. I didn't even look. I had ace king, flop comes down ace 9-8, and because of the whole dark stuff, it all got kind of messed up, and I end up paying the guy off when he's got 3 8s, and it cost me like $30,000. No big deal. Now the Tuan Lee show comes to the table.
Oh boy.
Tuan Lee gets in a pot. Now this guy who's scared of his shadow limps in a pot. Tuan makes it like 4,200. Guy calls him. Flop comes down ace something. Guy checks, Tuan bets, guy check raises him. This guy's scared of his shadow. Tuan calls. Turn. Tuan bets like 15,000. Or this guy bets 15,000. Tuan calls, leaving himself with like 17,000. And the river's a deuce. Guy checks, Tuan bets 8,000. Don't know why he didn't go all in, but he bets 8,000. Guy calls right away, 8,000. Tuan shows ace deuce. Right?
Wow.
Guy's got ace queen. Tuan wins his big pot. So now Tuan's raising every pot, he's crazy. So he's crazier than me even. But anyways, he raises. I look down. I got ace jack of clubs. I call him. Flop comes down ace 5-3 with 2 spades, and I keep the pot as small as I can. I mean, he bets. I call him. Now he might think I'm on spades. He bets the turn. I call him. River's nothing. He bets. I call him. It was like he bet like 7, 11, and 15. So I put a lot of chips in this pot. But anyways, it turns out this time Tuan's got ace queen. All right, so I lose. No big deal.
Still no big deal.
Yeah, I'm still okay. So that's 2 hands. But I mean, the thing is, if he hadn't caught the deuce, I would have lost next to nothing with the ace jack because he would have had next to nothing left. So then we play a hand. Tuan raises again. I call with ace deuce of spades. This guy calls in the big blind. Flop comes down 9-5 deuce with 2 spades. Goes check. I bet. The small blind check raises me. Tuan folds. I move all in, and the guy says, "Well, I guess I got to call." It's got 9-8. Right? Of course, I guess you have to call. But whatever. Of course, I whiff. Still no big deal. I'm down to now 40,000. Then Tuan raises again late. I call him out of the small blind with ace 5 of spades. Flop comes down ace 9-5 with 2 clubs.
Oh, this one's going to be gross, I can tell.
I check. Tuan bets. I check raise him. He re-raises me, and I move all in, and he calls. Turn up the hands. I got ace 5 of spades. He's got king 9 of clubs. Right? So he flopped a big hand, really. Right. Turns a 9. Right away I'm down 2 outs. River's a club just to, give me 1 extra kick in the testes. And out I go. So, I go from having, probably being, top 5 in chips. I played, a series of 4 hands, and I make Sinead, and I'm out. And I was so grossed out. It's been awful since then. I was really disgusted because I was playing good. I made 2 huge calls today that were both right. I really felt on top of my game, and man, I honestly, and this tournament was great. It was going to 6-handed when it got to 6 people.
Yeah, that was great for you. I remember how excited
perfect for me.
That, yeah.
And I'm just grossed right out. I really felt like I was playing great, and I'm disgusted right now.
Legends of Poker coming up, though. Now it's time for some World Series of Poker news. World Series of Poker news. It's Slamastica, Slambastica, Fan-freaking-tastica.
And really cool.
We started the day with 27 people down there at the World Series, played down to 9, which they are still attempting to do right now. There were 3 eliminations in the first 20 minutes. Lissandro was eliminated in 17th, so it was one of our only big names left. He lost most of his chips when his Jack-Jack ran into King-King. on a 10 high board. They reached the millionaire bubble at 5:30 p.m. So the remaining 12 players all got at least $1 million. And then that's pretty much where we've been stuck.
How
with 12 players.
How about Alan Cunningham?
Well, that's what we're going to get to. The chip leader is still Jamie. I want the gold with 31.2 million in chips.
Did Chris Berman start hosting the circuit?
In second place, we had Alan Cunningham with 14.6 million, which, I feel like if Alan can get to the final table with 20 or somewhere close, he has to be the favorite to win this thing.
I think if it stays the way it is, he's the favorite.
You still think he's with only half the stack of the chip leader? Okay.
I really think he is. I mean,
obviously a great player.
That pressure is going to get to these guys. It's not going to get to Alan. He's going to play unbelievable like he always does. And, I mean, he's obviously running well this World Series. He plays fantastic. I mean, I think right now he is the clear-cut favorite.
Yeah, he's got to be the favorite. Where is he sitting in relation to?
They're not at the same table anymore. They were directly next to each other, but now they're not. So, no final table yet.
That is actually pretty key. I mean, if Jamie Gold happens to get position on Alan, that will be pretty critical. But if Alan, I think it's more important if Alan gets direct position on Jamie.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
But, I mean, it will help if Jamie gets position on Alan. But if Alan were to get exactly to Jamie's left,
it's over.
Oh, man. That's going to be so freaking scary. That would be scary.
Big trouble.
Well, we're going to talk a ton about this tomorrow. We have 2 guests coming on. We're not going to announce them yet. I think we leave them in the dark about it for the Final Table preview show. So we're going to hear plenty about this. 2 giants of the game and very knowledgeable guys coming on the show tomorrow. So, and then Prahlad Friedman was another one of the, I guess, big names because he is a big name online. He was eliminated in 20th place. He earned $500,000 when Jamie Gold called a pretty big all-in, 1.7 million in chips with 8-7, and Prahlad had ace-3, and he hit flopped the straight.
This is my whole thing with Jamie Gold, and I'm not trying to disparage his game. But every time I look online and I check the hand histories, it's like him calling big raises with queen 6 and flopping, 2 pair. And it's him calling raises with 7, 8. He's got a
ton of chips now, right?
He does have a ton of chips, which excuses it somewhat. It excuses it somewhat, but he is going to be in big trouble.
Well, that's something that actually Eric and I have often talked about in poker. There comes a point when you can have so many chips that it's right to really, really, really tighten up, because now, you make a raise with like a queen 6 of diamonds. A guy who's a relative short stack re-raises you, and you're like, well, it's not that much, and I can knock him out. Right? And you give people what I've always called the courtesy double up. And before long, you've done enough courtesy double ups that you're low in lower in chips, and you're back right in the middle of the field again. Whereas you could have just played really tight and gone to the final table. Like, think about it. He can go to the final table right now with 25% of the chips.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
I mean, think about that. It is so important for him to just steal one set of blinds around and not worry about playing too many big pots unless he has a monster freaking hand.
I agree.
And he's going to get there with a quarter of the chips playing for $12 million. I mean, it's incredible.
It's like the John D'Agostino USPC courtesy double-up situation. That's exactly what we talked about.
Or it's like the Gavin Smith New Orleans courtesy double-up where I screwed up against Feldman with the ace-jack of diamonds. Right. I mean, the bottom line is it's really important for him to just center himself and realize, I don't need to play a pot.
Right.
I need to steal blinds now and again. I don't need to play a pot. I'm there. I've got the chips to get to this final table and to be perfect.
Unless he picks up a monster. I mean, sure, you pick up a huge
hand. Pick up aces, good. Pick up aces, you're laughing. Pick up kings, you're laughing, boom.
Right.
But, you don't need to play the frickin' 7-8 and the queen 6.
Pick up queen 6. Blast them. Right? Now it's time for hand of the day.
Nice hand, sir.
Blinds are $25,000, with a $5,000 ante. Eric Freiberg has around $7 million, and Alan Cunningham has around $3 million. Kevin Aronson raises to $170,000. Eric Freiberg, Richard Lee, and Alan Cunningham all make the call at $170K. Flop comes King 5 deuce with 2 spades. Lee and Cunningham check. Aronson, the pre-flop raiser, bets $400,000. And Freiberg flat calls. Cunningham check raises all in for another $2.255 million more than the $400,000 raise. So almost his entire stack, or his entire stack for almost $3 million. Cunningham, Aronson then debates a call and eventually folds. After 3 minutes, Freiberg makes the call. Freiberg shows 2 9s.
Wow.
Wow, big
and
call.
Alan Cunningham shows a flopped set with 2 5s.
How the heck can he make that call with 2 9s?
The turn and river come queen, and Cunningham doubles up to $6 million, and after the hand, Freiberg is down to 4.2. I was thinking the same thing, which is why I wanted to ask, how can you make that call against Alan right there?
Ridiculous. I mean, I was positive when I said king, queen, and I still think it was a bad call.
Right.
I still think king, queen would have been a bad call. But, man, with 2 9s, that is just a ridiculous call. There is no way. The best you can hope for there is that Alan's like, now pumping it with like Queen Jack of Spades or Ace
You're
King of
just
Spades or
praying.
Ace Queen of Spades. Like you're praying that he's only got 15 outs against you.
Right. He's still a favorite.
You know, at the best case scenario, he has 15 outs twice, and every other time you're completely screwed. I mean, that is his total novice poker,
right.
Horrible poker, and I mean that is like the worst call I've heard of at this stage of the World Series. That's almost as bad as Scott Lazar's calls last year on television, where he screwed up with the Queen 10 and the King 9.
Yeah.
I mean that's just terrible poker.
It's definitely a brutal call. I mean, you can kind of see him. I can feel the guy's thought process and talking himself into it. He's, I'm sure he's saying, okay, he's got spade. Literally, it's almost like that something's bad, but you're going to just convince yourself in your head. And I'm sure that's what happened to this guy. He just convinced himself.
Oh, I totally agree with you, Joe. I totally agree with you on that. But then when you look at it, like, what spades can he have?
Of course.
He's either got a spades with two overs,
right.
or he's got a spades with a straight draw. He's just so no, it's ugly.
For sure. I think he killed the thought process a little and just kind of forced it. Real bad call.
After this, we have phone calls and emails for us to help you not make calls like that right here on The Circuit.
How does $10 in free poker cash sound? It's easy at VCPoker.com. Just log on, sign up, and get $10 free to start playing a wide range of games, including Hold'em. VCPoker.com makes it easy with the latest software, and your payments and payouts are always safe and secure at VCPoker.com. With 60 years of gaming excellence, VCPoker.com is a company you can trust. Sign up now for your free $10. Log on to VCPoker.com/free35 and get your money for nothing and your chips for free.
Welcome back to The Circuit, everyone. Scott Huff, Gavin Smith, and Joe Sebok talking some poker here from the Bellagio in Las Vegas. You know where we're broadcasting. So we have a couple emails here. I'm going to start with those. This guy thinks he's funny, and I'm going to read it because even though it's kind of corny, I kind of like the joke. He says, in case you didn't get my phone message, the reason they wouldn't let the chimp play in the main event is that they couldn't stand the thought of all the media saying, a chimp in a chair. Enjoy.
That is kind of funny.
That is kind of funny. I like that.
Yeah, I don't mind that one. All right, let's take a couple phone calls, and we'll see if we have time for these emails. Call us. Don't email.
Everybody actually thought that I was dressed up as Curious George when I was dressed up as the Bear Cub, and so
really?
I had a lot of people saying they really wanted to see me go heads up in the Curious George outfit against the actual chimp.
That would have been funny. I wish we could have done
What if the chimp beat me?
Why don't we do it? Why don't we challenge the chimp to a game?
Challenge the chimp to a game?
That would be fun for charity. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
The charity chimp.
Let's do it. Let's challenge Joe Sebok against Mikey the Chimp.
I will play the chimp for charity.
That would be hilarious. Let's do it.
Chimp Sandler's yet again if you're listening.
Let's do it for www.babyhannum.com.
Yep, I will do it.
I will back Joe Sebok against the chimp.
There you go.
For charity.
All right, we'll have someone look into that. Here we go. Let's take one of our phone calls. Danny?
Hey, guys. This is Brian from New Jersey. And you guys keep mentioning this Chinese poker, but there's millions of us out here that have no clue what that means. What is the game, and how do you play it? And I need something else I can lose with. See you later.
All right, well, I'll let Gavin and Joe or either or give you a quick primer in it. But first, I just want to say, if you want to get like a full primer, including how some of what the par hands are in back, middle, and top, Lane Flack did an unbelievable video for us at www.cardplayer.com. Check the videos. It says Lane Flack teaches Chinese poker, and you can actually learn more than just the basics of how to play the game. But what is it basically?
Probably would have helped to get someone who actually is good at Chinese poker instead of Lane. But Chinese poker is basically, it's a 13-card game. It's very similar to Pai Gow poker. But it's 13 cards. So you have basically a backhand, a middle hand, and a top hand. The backhand's 5 cards, the middle hand's 5 cards, and the top hand is 3 cards. Each hand, your backhand has to be your strongest hand, your middle hand has to be your second strongest hand, and your top hand has to be your weakest. And your objective in the game is to figure out the way to make the 3 hands their strongest
against your
opponents. And that's the basics of the game. It's
And also, one thing you should mention, when it goes high, or highest from top to bottom, your 3-card hand, the best possible hand is trips. It's not like 3-card poker where like a 10-jack queen will make you a straight.
Correct.
You can't do that.
Right.
It's 2 5-card real poker hands.
Straights and
up
flush are
top.
no good.
Right, up top trips is the best you can have.
There's all kinds of variables. Excuse me.
Correct.
Like royalties and scoops and all kinds of
deuce to 7 in the middle, where you play your best deuce to 7 hand in the middle, which the nuts would be 2, 3, 4, 5, 7.
Would you like to describe this, Scott?
No, go ahead.
No, and that's basically it. There's just a lot of variables. So, the different groups will do different things. So just keep that in mind.
All right, next call.
Yo, guys, what's up? This is Rick from Cleveland. I just had a question on how you guys usually play, like, big hands in the small blind, since you're obviously probably going to raise and then be the first act, and what you guys usually do in those situations, being in bad position with a pretty big hand, like queens or kings or something like that. All right, talk to you later. Bye.
Okay, bye. Go ahead. Take it away.
I wasn't listening at all.
Okay, Gavin
I was
Smith, take
actually,
it away.
though. That's actually, strangely enough, that's an "it depends" question. No, if you got a big hand in the small blind and there's like a raise and like a couple of callers, and you've got a big hand, there's a lot of dead money out there, so you're going to put in a pretty substantial re-raise a lot of the time. This is the way I play anyways. But if there's like one raiser, and now it's heads up, or it's going to be you in the blind or whatever, a lot of times with a big hand, I'll just call. Because I call with a lot of like trashy hands too. And I want to be able to disguise the fact that I might have a big hand. I don't want to always raise with big hands and tell them I have big hands. So that's kind of the way I play. Guys like Joe, and I mean, I'm sure he'll chime in here, but I mean, guys like Joe who likes the re-steal too. I'm sure he re-raises a lot more with it because he re-raises a lot with any sort of playable hand to try to steal away the money, you know. So I mean, I think, anyways.
Sebok, how do you play big hands out of the blind? He was asking.
It completely
queens
depends.
or kings if it comes around to you in the small blind.
The answer is it completely depends. It depends on who is raising into me. Can I chase them off? If I raise, are they going to call? And there's a lot of factors. But as Gavin said, I mean, I just play all the time, and I play a lot of hands, and so they're not necessarily going to say, "Oh, Sebok has a hand right now." So that affords me, the possibility that I can raise with big hands occasionally and get some loose action. I've had people when I raise from the blinds move in on me with like ace 10 when I have like two aces and things like that. So there really are a ton of different ways to do it. I like to switch it up, so there's no set way. Like, with Gavin, I remember, one time I just called him with ace king and hit an ace on the flop, and just let him bet into me a little bit. So it really depends.
By the way.
Well, when you're in the small blind, let's say, what do you consider a strong hand then when you have to play it out of position? A hand like ace king, are you always or most of the time going to come raising out of the small blind? Or you're saying you're going to flat call sometimes?
There is no such thing.
Yeah,
as
there's most of the time. Yes.
There's no rule. It depends on who's raising, what's going on.
And what Joe says is completely right there. That when you've got a guy who has a tendency to call big bets, like if he raises and you've got to used to the table sort of setting, he raises and he's very prone to calling re-raises, which you find out very quickly. Then you want to put in a big raise with a big hand because this guy's likely to call you anyways. Right. And then maybe you can get him married to the hand. You don't need to trap there because this guy's going to trap himself. And so that's all where it comes down to, like figuring out, your table environment and sort of everything like that, and just knowing your players. Because, you want to take advantage of that. If you know a guy's going to call a big bet, then let him do it.
Excellent. Are there any hands that in the small blind, when it comes around to you, that, let's say it's just blind against blind? When you're talking about small blind against big blind, you have a monster. Will you limit that situation, or is it just too many variables with what he can have in the big blind that you don't really want to let him in free? Or again, it depends? It
depends. I can't stress this enough. There is no question in poker that has one answer. So all the people that call in and want us to say
when
do
you
this,
call, when do you call a raise, re-raise, and re-raise with deuce 7 off?
Right.
there you go. There's one question.
Okay, that is probably never.
There's
all
one
right.
question in poker.
After this, we will have Michael the Grinder Mizrachi right here for you on the circuit.
Hi, I'm Chris Ferguson, and here's my tip about playing Big Slick. While ace-king in the hole is a strong hand, many players misplay it by going all in from early position. The problem is, it's only a coin flip against any pocket pair. To get the most out of ace-king, raise 3 times the blind to drive out players with marginal hands. If you hit the flop, you can really punish players with smaller kickers playing this way. To learn more about playing Big Slick, visit FullTiltPoker.com, where you can learn, chat, and play with the pros.
Hi, this is David Williams, and you're listening to CardPlayer.com's The Circuit.
Welcome back to the circuit, everyone. We are broadcasting on Sports Byline Radio on Sirius Channel 122, on CardPlayer.com, and on the iTunes Music Store as a podcast. Scott Huff, Gavin Smith, and Joe Sebok. Our guest today is a return guest to the circuit studio. He is currently in the lead in Card Player's Player of the Year points race and has already won over $2 million in tournament play this year. He is a 2-time World Poker Tour champion and recently cashed yet again right here at the Bellagio Cup 2. Michael the Grinder Mizrachi, how's it going, man?
How you guys doing?
Hey, is he our first 3-time guest?
Not sure.
He might be, though.
He probably is.
He might be our first 3-time guest.
I think you are. Congratulations. We're going to give you a shirt on your way out the door. So why don't we first start, before we get into the Bellagio Cup, why don't you tell us about how your World Series went?
I probably netted the biggest loss in the World Series. Definitely. I lost about $180,000.
Wow,
it's pretty bad.
That's a lot.
I had one of the most rebuys. Daniel probably passed me in rebuys, and I played the horse. I mean, I had 3 cashes, but it was brutal. And when I got late, I took all the bad beats at the end. When you have to get lucky throughout the tournament, so you can't win a tournament.
What happened with the main event?
I had about 26,000. I was cruising till nighttime, and then I raised every hand for level 4, and I lost every pot, and I was down to 1,800. And before you know, I was all in the big blind with Ace Jack against Ace King, and I was out. So
you had the most rebuys, what, in the first event, the first rebuy event?
I believe so. I think about 22, 23 rebuys. And the next event I had about 21. I didn't know I spent 21,000, and Deuce to 7 I spent about 20.
Wow.
So I was in for about 60 or 70,000.
So you're a sicko is what you're telling us.
No, I'm not a sicko, but I went on like 8 consecutive hands all in. I lost them all. So I was steaming.
That'll do it.
So obviously, not with a minus 180,000, not the most successful World Series ever, but you do great in the World Poker Tour events. Think there's any particular reason for why you play so well in the WPTs and you've come up short a couple years in a row at the World Series?
I guess I can't play against bad players. I don't know what it is, and I just get unlucky against them. And I come out here and I'm chip leader 3 days in a row in the $1,000, and I end up pulling one off. And now I'm in the $10,000 event, and I came as a chip leader last night, and today everything went to disaster. I mean, I had like the worst possible you can have in a tournament. Both of us had the most chips on the table. I got 7-10 of spades. I raised under the gun to 5,000. I got 2 callers. The board comes Jack 8-9 rainbow. I check. The guy bets 10,000. The other guy folds. I think I make it 50,000. He thinks he mid-raised me again. He makes it 90, and I said, screw it, I'm all in. And he called me with ace-10. The board's Jack 8-9. I have 7-10. I flop the trade. It comes king-queen. And he scoops a $300,000 pot.
Oh, my God. Are you kidding me?
I was sick.
That's pretty disgusting.
I'm just happy to still be in right now. I'm left with 60,000, and I had about 100 after that hand. I lost that hand, and I lost back 40. And I haven't got one big pair today. And I had queens. I laid it down today, and that was it.
Do you think your reputation precedes you a little bit when you get more calls like that than a lot of players will get?
I mean, this guy had no clue what he's doing. He's just in every pot. He just raised. He's a calling station. You can't bluff him. So I decided it was like the perfect spot for me. It hit me against him. Both of had a big stack. He had about 130. I had about 240, and he was probably the second biggest stack on our table. And it's like that throughout this tournament. But I played really good. I mean, I had a very tight image. I made myself like a tight image. I didn't play a hand like 3 rounds, and then I started picking up.
I don't know if you can have a tight image, Mike.
And it worked out well for me. I picked up a lot.
I remember
chips.
once I had a tight image.
Sometimes I'm the tightest, and sometimes I'm the loosest player on the table.
No matter which, you never have a tight image. You never have a tight image.
Well, but against the amateurs, don't think I'm tight because they watch me on TV raising the deuce 4, limping with 4-5, 3-4.
Well, it sounds like raising under the gun with 10-7 of spades, isn't it?
Yeah, well, and I just got to the table, and I usually come off with a raise right when I sit down at a table, and just give that loose image, then I maybe tighten up and then get paid off a lot of hands.
Well, what level did you say you were in with the 10-7 hand? Were you guys down to the 6-handed tables yet, or no?
No, not even close. I would have had a monster chip lead. I would have almost 400,000 in chips, and that's like you needed 700 is the final table. There's about I think 100 players left. That would have been an enormous stack if I won that pot.
What do you think about that change in the number of players at the table? I haven't seen that yet in a tournament. I haven't seen that in a Bellagio tournament yet, where they go down to now you're all 6-handed, right? You're 6-handed.
Well, I mean, I like the way it's structured. This is the greatest structure always at the Bellagio, and now it's short-handed. It's probably my best game. And hopefully I do well tomorrow. I need to pick up a lot of chips. I only have 60,000. I'm real short right now. I'm probably one of the last in chips. But, it's enough. I thought at 50 or 60,000 even today, you still have a chance. But if you got like 5 or 6, you have no. So I could still apply a little bit of pressure tomorrow and pick up a lot of blinds.
Excellent. So the events leading up to the Bellagio Cup 2 main event, you won one of these the other night. Is that right? You were chip leader a number of days in those $1,000 blinds.
3 days in a row. I was chip leader with 28 to go. I finished 22nd. Chip leader to go with 20 to go. I finished 18th. The ace king against ace queen all in. A mid raise, and I thought about it, pushed in. The guy thought and called me with ace queen. He had me covered by 8,000. That's after I lost the pot, and then he flopped the queen. The next day I ended up winning. We made a six-way deal though. And the other 5 guys were begging me to make a chip count deal, and I had the most chips. And I was like, it was 4:30 in the morning. I had to wake up at 10, so I didn't mind too much. And I picked up an extra card player points for it. So I was like, whatever. I'll do a Joe Sebok.
Oh boy! I'll never do it again. I will never do it again. That's some low shit. Because you were the one sitting there being like, "Nah, that sounds all right."
Why is it that your deal came under so much scrutiny, Joe? Just because you had them dominated?
I don't know, actually. I don't know why.
Why is it doing a Joe Sebok to make a deal at a final table?
I think part of it was the fact that I scrutinized the deal myself. I wrote about it myself and wasn't happy with it.
But if you get the better deal, it's okay.
Looking back, Joe wishes he hadn't done it, and that's cool.
If they give me a premium, I'm always fine with it.
Right.
I don't mind. Just take it right there and get more than you're supposed to.
Well, you mentioned Player of the Year. You have 5,800 and what?
58.65.
58.65, which is more than it took to win last year from the Masters.
On the website, it says you got like 49 and change.
No, it updated. Yeah,
it just updated. Okay, I'm sorry.
I mean, obviously, you're dominating this thing. Are you still? You've been coming in playing all these 1000s. Are you really still that concerned that someone's going to be able to catch you? I mean, and who do you think is the biggest threat right now out of the people that are in the top 5 or 10?
Probably right now, I think Alan Cunningham. He's coming back from behind. He'll probably move in second if he wins the main event.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's always a big threat, but he doesn't play a lot of these smaller ones. So, it might be maybe a Namley or Dave Williams may catch up. But, it's far back, and there's only a few months left to go. And I don't think there's that many tournaments. There's a few main events left, and you have to pick one of those main events off and win it, and still win another tournament. So
there's some pretty big events. So the Borgata's got a full schedule. The Bellagio has a full schedule in October, and Foxwoods has a full schedule in November. Man,
I might miss a few of those tournaments, though. I'm probably gonna miss this whole August.
I think Joe Sebok's planning on playing them all. Are you concerned about that?
Definitely going to be a threat. So
are you concerned about
keep your eyes open.
No, he's planning on playing all those 3 big events. Are you worried about that?
I'm not worried about Joe Sebok.
Well, technically, Jeff Madsen is the closest to you right now, the kid who picked up 2 bracelets, and I think he's going to be coming out on tour, from what it sounds like, to at least play a couple more events.
Yeah, I'm going to skip the Legends because I'm going to New York. I'm going to take a vacation, go back to Florida, and then off to New York. Maybe stay out there for the Borgata tournament. I don't know yet. I don't know my schedules yet, but I have to get off the West Coast.
So why don't we talk a little bit about what are you doing right in tournaments right now? When you're playing your best game, when the grinder's playing his A game, what are the things that you think you do better than anyone else in tournament poker that are allowing you to get there so often?
Well, lately I've been mixing up, before I just fire early levels. Now, in the short stack tournaments, I play a little more conservative. I try to double up and make sure I have everybody covered before I start gambling. So it's been working out well. And in these smaller ones, I've been doing the same thing over here, and I just start, I play real tight then real loose, so no one never knows what I have. So, and that's really important. No one knows where that, and I just try to take advantage of that situation.
When they talk about chip accumulators, your name always comes up. Obviously, people who pick up a lot of chips early. You're saying that you do it by mixing it up, but it always seems like you're the guy at the end of break number 1, like in the 5,000 that we followed you around for the day for the card player videos. You had 16,000 already at the end of the first level. I mean, what are you doing differently? I mean, you always hear people saying, and they've come on the show, and maybe they're trying to mislead our audience and make them worse players, but they're always saying, "Oh yeah, real tight early." Other than Gavin Smith, obviously, real tight early, and then pop in when the antes come in and start attacking. What are you doing to pick up these chips so early?
Sometimes I just attack early in position. It just depends on who's on my left and who's on my right, how aggressive the players on my left. Sometimes, I'll limp in if there's a lot of aggressive players. I'll limp in with big hands and give them the re-raise, the limp re-raise. It just, I play I play mostly in position too. And I try to take a lot of pots from the cutoff and the button, steal 2 blinds around. It's important. And today I haven't got any hands at all. I mean, I got queens once and I just laid it down on the flop. It came jack deuce 7. The guy just pushed in. And he told me what he had. He had 7, 8 of diamonds, a pair of 7s, and a flush draw. So
I told you we were good, though.
Yeah, how did that whole hand go? How did that whole hand go from the beginning?
Did I not tell you we were good?
Well, I still was even money
so. I told you we were good, though. Right?
Even if I knew what he had, I might have folded because I think it would hurt me more to lose the 54,000, than to win it. I'd rather not lose it. I'd rather not take that risk, anyways. I might have still folded, so it didn't matter, anyways. Even if I knew what he had. So the board, the guy makes it. First guy, initial raiser makes it 3. He makes it 10,000. I'm on the button. I have about 140,000 in chips. The other guy has about 40, the next guy has about 65, and I just flat call a raise and a re-raise, and the other guy folds initial raiser, and the board comes jack deuce 7 with 2 diamonds, and he pushed in for 53,000. Pot's only 23. So I mean, he might figure I can give him aces or kings, but most of the time you won't play aces or kings. He can have ace king of diamonds, ace queen of diamonds. There's so many hands. I felt like I only beat 2 10s, and I didn't think he's capable enough to raise one of those 4 5 or 5 6 suited with me behind him, raise the other guy. So I thought maybe it was one of those big hands, and I said it wasn't worth it. Might as well pitch it, pitch it away. And I think that was the right play what I've done. And if I saw his hand, I'd probably still muck it.
He actually told you he believed in the 7-8.
Yeah.
But getting back to what Grinder does well, which is, by the way, many, many, many things. But the thing that I think Grinder does better than anybody in the game right now is he gets more money out of his river bets than anybody in poker right now. He just has this knack of knowing exactly when people will pay a huge overbet off, and he puts it out there, and he does that, and he gets paid off on these huge monstrous bets that most people won't get paid off. Most people would underbet a monster flush or something like that, and Grinder will just send it in there and just get paid off like time after time after time. I think that's his strongest point.
Today I only had 2 bluffs, and I got caught once, and I'm probably negative 30,000 on my bluffs today. So, I mean, it didn't work out too well, but I didn't bluff that many times today, and I never had a chance. It was always a raise and a re-raise to me. It was a tough table. It was tough 2 tables, 2 tough tables I was playing on. I mean, it wasn't an easy table at all. So, I mean, these tables, this is much harder than the World Series. It's not. You can't even compare. The players here are much better.
What kind of table draws did you have today? Who were you playing against?
You had John Juanda, you had David Benjamin. I mean, all these monster guys, and they play really well, and they play well in position too. So you got to be a little careful, pick your spots.
So when you kind of tone down the aggression against the better players. I mean, you were just mentioning before the reason you don't think you perform well in the World Series is that you're up against players who are kind of knuckleheads and make these crazy calls or outdraw you. What about when you're playing against good players? What kind of adjustments do you make to your game?
Well, I basically play with a lot of these players, so I basically know what they got. I know when they're trying to steal and when they're not trying to steal. Like yesterday, I mean, I made every single right read. I called the guy with 4th pair when I knew he was bluffing. He took a big gulp at the end. I was waiting for that big gulp, that big swallow at the end. And, I just waited, and I picked up that tell, and then he was bluffing. He had absolutely nothing, Then I got paid off on all my big hands, and I mucked every time I was beat. So everything was working out well yesterday. And today, if I won that big hand, I mean, I probably would have had $1 million in chips right now. I guarantee I would have a lot of chips. But then I was short stacked, so I had to play a little more conservative, and just pick, those spots, whenever I kept my money in good. But I never had a chance. The best 2 cards I got was 2 jacks, and my tournament was on the line against David Binion against Ace King again. And I knocked him out with jacks against Ace King, but it held up, and now I'm still at 60.
One question I wanted to ask all 3 of you, because all 3 of you play an aggressive style of poker. Although Gavin, you say you do a lot more calling than you do betting. But when you're talking about the aggression,
Grinder does that too.
But you're both known as being aggressive players. Now, I mean, that's how people perceive your play, at least. And when you talk about aggression, what is the difference between the aggression that great professional tournament poker players have and the aggression of just your everyday, off-the-street maniac? What is the difference? Why do people call you a maniac? They'll say you're a maniac, yet you're picking up chips, you're getting there all the time. What's the difference between that type of aggression and the type that you see from just your L.A. card room hold'em player?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with... like when we're putting in chips a lot of the time, there's a reason for it. Like even like yesterday when I had my big bluff with the 9 deuce that I fired 3 shells at.
Right.
I mean, I put the guy on a flush draw when he bet it. I was correct on that. He happened to hit a pair on the turn, but I mean, I put him on a certain spot, and I just really didn't think he could handle up to the pressure of continuing to bet. And I think that the best pros are able to pick up on that, and the other guys are just firing aimlessly, hoping. Whereas pros are actually realizing where their opponents are at, when they'll give up, and are taking calculated risks.
You just got to know when you can bluff and when you can't. Sometimes you just got to give up a hand when you put a chip on the flop. What the guy has, and you just give it up. A lot of these amateurs will keep firing bullets. But Gavin knows what the guy has, so it's important. And if the guy hits his flush, he's going to give up the hand, obviously. But if he doesn't, he knows he has a shot to steal the pot from him.
So a lot of it has to do with spots where it's picking up on weakness, basically, is what you're saying. A lot of the time, picking up on weakness and then putting in bets. Right, Joe?
Yep.
Right, guy? Awake over there?
I'm awake.
All right. We have a phone call for Grinder. Why don't you play it, Danny?
Hi, this is Eric from Champaign-Urbana, Illinois. I was calling with a question for the Grinder. My question was, I know the Grinder is in the front running for the Card Player of the Year standings, and given all the publicity around the 50,000 horse event recently, and of course the record-setting main event entry, I was wondering what he thought was the standard this year, at least, and perhaps in the future, for the true Player of the Year. Is it the Card Player standings? Is it another standings which people vote on, or one of those 2 events in the WSOP? Love the show, guys. Thanks. Bye.
So what do you think determines the best player in the world to you right now?
Well, who has the best ranking system?
Well, not who has the best ranking system, but what ranking system, be it the main event of the World Series of Poker, the 50,000 horse, or Card Player, or some other ranking system, what do you think actually determines who the best tournament poker player in the world is?
Well, I mean, you can't really tell who the best tournament player is, because if somebody plays more tournaments than someone else, I mean, that's a big advantage over any other person. Somebody plays 100 tournaments here and somebody plays 20. I mean, the person that plays 100 has a better chance of winning it. So, I mean, right. It's almost impossible to know who the best tournament player is for the year, But
plus, you've got Card Player gives higher ratings to World Poker Tour events. Bluff gives higher ratings to more World Series of Poker events. Mm-hmm. So you've got different entities that are sort of gearing towards the people that they need to be geared towards, and that's where you get at it. But I mean, no matter where you're looking at, I mean, if you look at all of the ranking systems, Grinder's right near the top.
Yeah. So if you see poker pages, I got like 47,000. The next one says 19. I won it last year. I mean, last year I finished 5th in Card Player, and men finished first. So I mean, it's just different. All the rankings are different, and I think card player is the most accurate ranking as of now. Still,
oh, sure you do, because you're number one. I think Bluff is the most accurate.
Bluff, not even close. I don't think they're. I don't think it's. Yeah, because so I'm not even the top. I think 10.
Well, you're not in the top 10 players.
Wow. Well, I think a lot of people consider you to be one of the best tournament players in the world. And so, considering that, when you sit down to play tournament poker, who is it that you actually wouldn't want to see at your table? Who do you consider some of the people that are on par with you these days and that are some of the other best poker players in the world as far as tournaments are concerned?
Well, I don't mind playing with you. I always like playing with great players because you learn more, and I learned a lot from those guys, and I'm still learning how to play. It's important, to play with a lot of these great players, see what they do, how they think, and sometimes you try to think for them. I play against. I don't like playing against players that have no idea what they're doing. I tend to do, like I said, I tend to do really bad. I don't know. It just no one ever believes me. Like, for example, I have the boards like ace 4-6. The guy's ace 3. I have ace 4. He gets all his money in against me in the World Series. Comes 7-5. So that's the first event of the World Series, and I felt that's how my World Series was going to go, and it did. So.
Well, at the last time that you were on the show, you hadn't signed yet with Absolute Poker. Obviously, you signed a deal with them. You're with them now. What are you doing for them exactly, and can people play with you on the site and whatnot?
Well, basically, I play on the site. We have a 150-300 game. We have a 25 no-limit game. I have a 25 no-limit table. I mean, the games are great on there. It's a lot of fun. I've been winning. I think I'm even now on the site, so I'm actually kind of happy. I was losing about 30. I was up 30 from the start, then I was down about 50, and now I'm back to even. So, I mean, it's a great site to play. The games are pretty strong. They're getting a lot stronger now that I joined the site, and a lot of people want to play with me and Mark Safe.
Mark said that he goes on the site and just dusts off buy-in after buy-in when he came on the show. He said that he's a total nut on the internet. What's your internet game like, internet cash game like, in comparison to the way we see you on High Stakes Poker or on TV for the World Poker Tour?
Well, I'm probably a little looser online. You have to, because you're getting so many hands, and just a click away, from a call or fold or raise. So, I mean, it's easy to, a lot of people make a lot of bad calls online. So, I mean, it's just the same for everybody. I don't think anybody plays, I think everybody plays different. I don't care what they say. And their live game is totally opposite, of the online game. And there's a lot of gambling online. And sometimes you have to take risks, and I do it. And you're going to win a lot or lose a lot or go broke quick. That's how it is online. So it's a little risky, but, it's a lot of fun and it's very convenient. You're at your house, doing what you're doing and making money.
So you feel like you have to have more gamble to play online then? Is that what you're saying? Or you think people just naturally gamble more because
I
think
online? People naturally gamble more online, definitely. I mean, they don't have to show their face. They can bluff a lot. They're not embarrassed to show their cards, and that's how it is on online poker. And all these guys, and they come to reality, it's a totally different world.
Do you think people get snapped off a lot more that are internet players? I mean, do you feel like
you get
internet
snapped
players
off? Of course. I mean, you get snapped off online all the time. And if people think it's rigged, but it's not. It's not actually right. I think it's all random. It's just getting so many hands, so you're going to see a lot of bad beats.
And also the people that I've heard this year at the World Series of Poker, most people felt like the field was a lot weaker. It seems like these guys down there right now, every day is so fast. The play is so fast. These guys are moving monster chips with, when they don't really have to relative to the blinds. What did you think in your assessment of the field this year at the World Series of Poker overall? Would you say it was weaker, stronger than last year?
It's definitely weaker because this year you had even a bigger turnout, so there's more dead money in the field. And now when they spread out the field, you're going to play with a lot of at least 4 or 5 people are dead money on the table and have no clue what they're doing. But it actually hurt me this World Series because, I mean, like in the main event, I seen like the craziest play. This is how I lost most of my chips. I made a pretty bad read. It was a little mistake I made on my part. The guy had 2 9s, and I came in with the raise. Now I'm trying to think in my hand. I'm sorry, guys.
That's all right.
I had okay, yeah. You guys had it wrong on 2. I had Queen 8 of clubs. I limped in. The guy calls. The guy puts in a yellow chip, intending to raise. And another guy calls him not knowing, it was he thought it was a raise, so he's just flat calling the raise. The guy with the 2 9s, and I told the dealer it's only a call. He never said raise, just threw an odd chip in. So it was 200 to both of them. And it came down to me, and the flop came Jack 10 of clubs, 8 of spades. I flopped a gut shot straight flush draw, bottom pair flush draw, straight draw. So I checked. The first guy initially wanted to raise, makes it 1,000. This guy calls 1,000. I make it 3,500. Most time I'm going to be a huge favorite against any of those 2 hands. And I'm feeling really good. I don't want to gamble, just push in. I want to see what the turn card was. And this guy folded, and this guy thinks for like 5 minutes and calls the 2,500 with 2 9s. The turn comes a jack of diamonds. So I lead out for 2,500 into a $10,000 pot, making it look like I have jacks full of a monster hand. he thinks for a while. I mean, he thinks for another 5 minutes. He mid-raised me to 5,000. So now I was confused. Now I thought that was a pretty bad play, just to mid-raise me. And then I said he could have 2 9s or 10s full, and right there I should have just pushed in. And I thought maybe he was weak when he thought forever, but he could be playing the Hollywood game, and I just decided to flat call. And the river comes in ace and diamonds, so I give up the pot at 13,000, and if I made my move, I would have over 30. So I give it the pot, and this guy's thinking with 3 more minutes to bluff with the 2 9s, and he just gives up the pot, and my 8s were no good.
Well, we have a great vacation, first off, and we look forward to seeing you. It's going to be at Borgata then, if you're not going to be at the Legends?
No, I won't be at the Legends. I'm going to a wedding in New York.
Looking for a repeat at Borgata, although it's not the same exact tournament, but maybe pull down another Borgata tournament.
Was it 10,000 buy-in or 5?
I don't know. What is it?
Borgata's 10. So is the bike.
I'll be there.
All right. Michael the Grinder Mizrachi, everybody.
Later, bro.
Ever dreamed of attending the Super Bowl? Or maybe your dream is to attend golf's The Masters. Or maybe you're even like Joe Sebok and would like to attend the Polar Penguin Sumo Championships. Whatever your dream sporting event is, Card Player would like to help you get there. If you subscribe now to Card Player Magazine at the new low price of $19.99, you'll be entered into our special World Series of Poker subscription contest for a trip for 2 to any sporting event anywhere in the world. Welcome back to the circuit, everyone. We are broadcasting on Sports Byline Radio on Sirius Channel 122, on cardplayer.com, and on the iTunes Music Store as a podcast. I'm Scott Huff. The guy in the blue hat's Gavin Smith, but you can't see him. And the guy in the red shirt is Joe Sebok, and you can't see him either. But we're all here for you right now. We have to say goodnight, though, which is sad. I liked the Grinder being on the show, though.
Grinder
He's
rocks.
the man.
He's great.
He doesn't really, I think we got some stuff out of him. There's a few, if you listen very closely to that interview, you will get some nuggets of information into the Grinder's mind, how he plays tournaments, but, I don't think he's going to give you everything.
Grinder's such a feel player. I mean, a lot of times Grinder probably doesn't know why he's doing what he's doing, but he's doing it because it feels right. And, people don't understand how important that is in poker.
Well, that's because he played so much, probably. You play so much poker, you get the feel down.
All right.
True. So if you want to get the feel down of internet poker, that is, you can check out our Card Player Poker free rolls. Card Player would like to help you become a better player and reward you with $3,000 in prize money every month for playing in our free rolls. It's as simple as signing up, and it's free to everyone. All you need to do is check out www.cardplayer.com/free poker. And the guy who won the overall points made it through a couple days of the World Series. I'm not sure if he cashed, but I will check on that tomorrow to tell you, win the Card Player free roll, cash. There you go. We'd like to thank our guest tonight, Michael the Grinder Mizrachi. Tomorrow, the final table preview show of the World Series of Poker main event. Are you pumped?
With 2 spectacular guests.
2 spectacular guests.
I don't even know who the guests are.
You don't, but you're going to find out right after we sign off.
All right. They're real and they're spectacular.
Good night, everybody.
Beautiful.